Thank you for watching another episode of Legacy Discussions where we leave legacies and not liabilities. Today I have with me Dannielle Lewis. Welcome, Dannielle.
Thank you.
So, let me tell y'all a little bit about Dannielle. First of all, if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please subscribe. Thank you for all the subscribers that we have so far, but share this with women who can benefit from this information and from the stories of the women that are on the couch. So, Dannielle Lewis is a professional speaker and strategic networking expert, best known for her signature framework, the Quiet Power Play, a powerful approach that helps professional and entrepreneurial women turn intentional visibility into paid opportunities, leadership roles, and strategic partnerships. As the founder of Confident Connections, Dannielle teaches women how to master the art of strategic networking without changing who they are. Through her Get Chosen suite of workshops, keynotes, and digital tools, she empowers women to move from overlooked to unforgettable. With a focus on clarity, confidence, and connection, Dannielle is redefining how quiet leaders show up and win. Dannielle, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. I'm so glad to be here.
Yes, I'm so glad to have you on the couch.
I, it's been a long time coming.
It
I've been
has.
watching, so I'm ready. I hope we have some great conversations.
I know we
Yeah.
will. I know we will. So if you remember how we met, because we haven't been knowing each other a long
Right.
time, but you're good.
Okay.
Girl, put your earring on. It happens to all the women. Put your earring on. Um, but we met at a panel that they had at Southern University, and
Yes.
it was a group of women, which it's some college girls that are absolutely amazing. I'm not going to call them girls, young women
Women. Hmm.
who are really trying to build that entrepreneurship and mentality within other college women. So they had us on a panel.
Right.
You and I met for the first time, and we hit it off. I was like, there's something about her that I like.
Mhm.
And we met for coffee a few weeks ago, and now you're here.
Right. And so, honestly, I was like, when we first met, your name precedes you. So I already kind of knew about the Taisha beard, but didn't know you. And so when you came in the room, I was like, oh, this is her. And so the earring just wants to do what it wants
That's
to do.
okay.
But I already knew about you, right? I saw what you were doing in the community. I saw, all the events you were doing, but never really got to connect, right? And so that was one of the things, Confident Connections is kind of what I do. And so being able to really connect with you that quickly shows me that there are more women who want to be connected
Yeah.
in this area. It something that we talked about is, there has to be women that are like us that want to be together, that want to talk about what's lifing, and
Yes.
things like that. And so it was awesome getting to meet you, as well as get that true connection right away.
Yeah. I appreciate that. And look, when you reached out, life gets busy,
Yes.
right? And you reached out, and I was like, oh, yeah, we're going to get together. But we all say that, right? But then you came back and you like tried to set the date.
Yes.
And I'm like, she's serious.
Yes.
We need to get
Yes.
together. She's serious. She putting dates on it, right? And so I was like, okay, I got to meet with her. And we met, we had coffee, and I said, you know what? She and I are, you know, kind of thinking the same thing. Like, how do we put people together?
Right.
How do we get women that have the same mindset? Maybe they're an expert in a different industry, but how do we get us all together
Right.
to where we can support and help one another?
Right.
And that's when I said, okay, I gotta connect with her. And so what you are doing, the confident connector, you're good at it. You're good at it because you make people show up.
Yes.
You make people show up.
And that's something, a lot of women don't want to do. They don't want to show up. They
Yeah.
want to hide. And so I want to pull that out of them. A lot of the times we see there are women who want to be in the background. They want to not really showcase all the value that they have. And so I want to pull that droid out of them,
Yeah.
And so there are women who are dying to show up in different rooms. They're dying to get certain roles and they want the recognition, but they're afraid to show up. And so Confident Connections does that for them. It's intentional. My workshops are not, just fluff.
Yeah.
It's more about what can you do in this moment that you can take away with you so you can do it in other rooms. And we try to keep the workshops intentionally small,
Yeah.
for that reason. I tell people all the time, I sucked at networking in the beginning. I was horrible. It was growing up, they taught you, oh, it's a numbers game. Get as many business cards as you can. Try and get sell, sell, sell. And that's not me.
Yeah.
Like, I want you to show up as your authentic self, because when you show up as your authentic self, people reciprocate,
Yeah.
and so they want to help you. They just have to know that you're a real person.
Yeah. So how do you bring that out of them? Like your workshops, what is it teaching them to do in order to bring that out of them? Is it more of just helping them with their confidence, like true confidence and self-esteem, or what does that look like?
So it starts with confidence,
Yeah.
but sometimes you can be confident and just don't have the tools that you need in order to continue to grow,
Yeah.
right? There are so many people who they walk out into the rooms and they're loud and boisterous, but they don't know how to follow through.
Mm.
And so the workshops are not just here to get you talking, but what do you do after? Like you were saying, how I made sure I was trying to get in touch with you.
Yes.
That's the follow up that a lot of
Yeah.
women forget, because, again, life. And so I tell people, set an alarm, right? Put it on your phone. Tell yourself, I am going to reach out to this person because
Yeah.
this person can get me from point A to point B, and I have no clue, that person can do that for me.
Yeah.
So it's all about being intentional,
Yeah.
strategic with your networking, not just showing up to be seen.
Yeah. So confident connections, is it just events and workshops, or is it a course, or like do y'all meet quarterly, monthly? Like if somebody's interested in being that confident connector or being a part of that, like how would they do that?
Yes, so we have workshops, we have courses, we have meetups. It's really and truthfully, I like to connect women and bring them in. So, kind of like I have some therapists. They come in and they talk about how we self sabotaging ourselves. What are we doing to move ourselves forward? I tell the story all the time. I self sabotaged myself for a very long time. Being 2 times married, the first time I kind of had in my head that I wasn't good enough because what my ex husband would tell me, right?
Mm.
And so I have to show up for myself intentionally. And so it's been a mind shift
Yeah.
for me. It's been dealing with the therapist, figuring out what is it that I am stopping myself, from growing. What is it that is holding me back from hiding?
Yeah.
Why am I not wanting to be in the forefront? What is it that I'm afraid of somebody's going to talk about me, or are they going to say something negative about me? What is it in the back of my head that stops me from wanting to be in the forefront
Yeah. People are always going to say negative things.
all the time?
Like you can be the greatest person, right? Look, I always say what makes me feel good. If they talked about Jesus, the perfect man, what
Exactly.
they gonna say about
Yeah,
me?
exactly.
So I try to always remind myself like that. Like I could never be good enough for everybody.
Right.
I just have to be good enough for the people that I need to be good enough
Right.
for.
Find your tribe.
Girl, find your
Find
tribe.
your tribe.
Find your tribe.
And that's what we've been trying to do.
Yes.
Find those women who have the same thoughts,
Yeah.
have the same mindset. What are they trying to do that we could help? One of the things that I teach with Confident Connections is what is the value that you bring to the table, right? Don't go in thinking that you're just about to sell,
Yeah.
right? You're not about to just get your product and use whatever connections they have. What can you bring to the table? And you might not be as well connected as some other individuals, but
Yeah.
what do you have that you can bring to the table that can assist the next person? Because it's something that can be extremely small in your mind that can actually pole vault that next person. They can catapult them to the next level. You just have
Exactly.
no idea.
Yeah. Do you believe, and I'm just starting to see a pattern, especially now having the women on the couch, it seems like there's something that has happened in their lives that have caused them to overcome whatever that thing is, that is now their like assignment and purpose in life to help people in that same situation. And so when you mention, your ex-husband and all the, things he was telling you to make you feel that way, you came out of that and now it's like your mission to help women that may be thinking the same thing or feeling the same way about themselves to come out of that situation and to do certain things that you were able to do to help yourself get out.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I honestly, that has been a passion, a mission for me. I did all things. I went to school for business, right? Wanted to help women in their business, but God was telling me there is something deeper. There is something else. I can't be a therapist, y'all. I can't be a therapist. But there is something on the inside of women that we can pull out. And so I can honestly say when I hear you say that about there has always been a trial that we had to overcome and that has become our mission, that for me
Yeah.
has been it. Um, Hearing my ex-husband tell me, "Oh, nobody's going to talk to you because
Mm.
I am the only person that can assist you in growing," and I'm like, "Okay, you
Wow.
know." But as I've had two kids with him, and so you're young, you're in your 20s, and you're hearing somebody that you believe loved you say that to you, you're like, okay, well, maybe he's telling the truth,
You
especially
start to
when,
believe it.
you start to believe it. And so
Yeah.
afterwards, it's, well, what can I do to change that?
Mm-hmm.
What can I do mentally to get myself to want to step out, to want to talk to different people? And I'm living that answered prayer. Um, it wasn't really where God had to come and stand in front of me to say, hey, this is what you need to do. It was more of the lines of, look how far you've come.
Yeah.
And you can help other women who might not even see themselves in that position. But what can you do to bring them out and allow them to do what I've called them to do?
Yeah. Yeah, I that resonates with me because I just think about now like my assignment is
Mm-hmm.
financial literacy and teaching women how to open their businesses and scale their businesses and help with their monthly spending and budgeting and investing in real estate, all those things. And I can just think back when I was younger, I saw that I saw people mismanage money.
Mm-hmm.
I saw that my parents didn't always make the right decisions with spending their money and saving and all these things. And even as a child, I can just remember saying, God, I don't want that to be me. Like, I have to, and I didn't see different,
Mm-hmm.
right? I just knew in my heart
Felt it.
that there was something different, a better way to do this. And I was determined. I was determined to figure out what that was. So
Mm-hmm.
I started to educate myself. And I didn't know where to start, right? Yes, I went to college. I was first one in my household to graduate from college. My sister came 20 years later and graduated from college. She went back as an adult. Um, but I just started saying, I guess it's me, God. I guess I have to break the cycle. And with that comes weight,
Oh, yes.
that comes pressure because it's like you're the groundbreaker. And that, to some people, that could be like, oh, you think you're good. No, baby,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want it
At all.
because it was tough being the one that to go against the grain, to go outside of what you've seen and say, I gotta figure out because it was almost in my mind too, like, what if I'm wrong? What if there is no other
Mm.
way? What if I'm fooling myself?
Right.
But I was just curious enough, and I call it faith now, but before I thought I was just stupid enough to try it and go figure it out for myself. And so to hear you say that, it's like I look back now and saying, God, you were training me the whole time. You were planting those seeds in my heart because you're the one, obviously, that told me there is different. Otherwise, I could have just picked up what was happening and just kept the cycle going. But he said, no, somebody got to do it, and I'm entrusting you with this. And are you going to be obedient? So that's why I do what I do now,
Yeah.
is because I know there's some people in that same situation that don't get a chance to see what the other side looks like,
That's right.
and how to be still walking your faith with it. It's
Right.
it's sometimes they feel like you have to choose, and you
Yeah.
don't.
Oh, I'm glad you said that. Some people feel like they have to have a choice. It's, do I do the worldly things and grow, or do I do the spiritual part and grow? You can actually grow. And truth be told, if you know anything about the Bible gives us the instructions
It's
on
right there.
how to grow.
It's
You
right
know,
there.
it gives us every step that we need. It tells you everything from, the talents and using what you have in order to be able to grow, and are you going to go and die with the talents that God has given you? It tells you what to do.
Yeah.
And so because we're not, we come up sometimes in environments that people don't help us bloom, right? They don't help us understand the next part. And sometimes it's not that they won't help us, they just don't know.
Yeah.
And it has been sometimes where I was like, Lord, I don't want this. Like, you're putting me through the fire.
Yeah.
Why? And then I look around and I'm like, this is why.
Yeah.
Like, I can honestly say there were some years I was like, Lord, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Why are you doing this to me? Like, I could live the same life and be comfortable. Like, I see family members who are living comfortably, you know, not seeing the fruit of any type of labor.
Right.
And so what can I do mentally to really, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. It's
what
okay.
what can I do mentally to make sure that generations that come after me do not have the issues that I went through?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I see you getting
Yeah.
emotional. Why the tears?
I understand everything I've been through. It has been a roller coaster.
Yeah.
You know, I've seen a great grandmother have it all. I've seen a grandmother not have it all at all, have nothing. I've seen my great grandmother tell my mom what to do to have it, and lives, right? And so she wasn't able to do those things. I don't know what might have stopped her, but now seeing her flourish, and I would have to say, she tells me all the time she's flourishing because she watches me.
Yeah.
Like, do you understand how when your mom tells you, because the things that you're doing, she wants to do better?
Mm.
That within itself is a reason for me to keep moving. Not for just my daughter, not for my son, but to see that I was able to change my mom's life, who came before me, 20 years before me.
Yeah.
Doing the things that I'm doing now assist her.
Wow.
So that's just know my mama has a master's degree.
Yeah.
She stayed out of school for like 30 years. And to go back because she wanted to see something better, because she sees her children doing things differently. She wanted to do it as well.
Yeah. Hey, I'm Thais Shabir with Legacy Studios located at Beard Properties in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. If you're dreaming of starting a podcast but don't know where to begin, with Rent the Mic, it's plug and play. You just walk in, sit down, record, and leave. We'll handle the editing, the branding, and the delivery. Customize your set and let our pro team do the rest. No stress, no setup, all done for you. Let's make your podcast dreams a reality. Book your session now at www.beardproperties.net. I said, I know your mom's proud of you, and what an honor to have your mother looking at you as a role model. Like, that's normally the other way around. But I know a lot of people in our generation are doing things that our parents were afraid to do, or didn't have the opportunity to do, right? They weren't afforded that opportunity. And so some of us are just risk takers, right? We're sometimes radical, considered to be radical. And, I definitely feel like you are a part of my tribe because you're just as radical as I am. Like, sometimes I'm like, girl, just sit down somewhere. And I'm like, I can't because there's so much that needs to be done.
And we talked about that. Like, sometimes we feel uncomfortable just resting. It's like, what am I doing? Why am I just sitting still?
Yeah.
And sometimes I actually had to talk about this last week. I have to force myself sometimes to rest, because I'm like, I have a lot I need to get done. I'm not where I want to be. So, God, you're telling me to get all this done. And the Lord is like, it's going to get done.
Yeah.
But you can't get there if you don't rest.
Yeah.
Because you're going to wear yourself out. You're going to become tired. And then you're not going to finish what I want you to get finished. And so now when I'm resting, it's not about, oh, I'm being lazy. It's, I am building up the strength that I need to keep moving.
Yeah.
I'm building up the strength that God needs me in order to finish what He's called me to do.
Yeah. Do you believe that, like, when you get to that place of, um, like, fight or flight, and you don't ever come down, and you're always in that mood, go, 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 go? Do you think that's a dangerous place? Let me say a dangerous place mentally to be.
Um, I would say before I thought it was. Before I thought it was me just doing,
Yeah.
right? But now I am in the mentality I'm not just doing, I'm being,
Mm.
I'm becoming.
Yeah.
And so sometimes it takes that extra push to keep going because if I'm looking around in my environment, I'm looking around in the world today, and you all know what's all going on in the world today.
Yeah.
Um, it is where I have to push myself a little bit more. But when it is time for me to rest, I'm not going to be guilty resting. I'm not
Yeah.
going to feel guilty. I'm not going to feel shame or disgrace just laying down or taking that vacation because I've done what God has told me to do in that moment.
Yeah.
I've done what He said, okay, Danielle, get this done, move forward, get, you know, as He would tell those in the Bible, go where I tell you to go, right?
Right.
And so, honestly, before 2025 came in, I always kind of do a phrase, right? And my phrase this year was, send me, I'll go.
Mm.
And now I'm really realizing that I have to sometimes push myself because I'll get, mentally exhausted because I'm a mom of four.
Yeah.
I have a husband, I have a business, I help my husband run his business. And sometimes it becomes a lot. But what am I going to put what God tells me to do on the back burner because I have all of this other stuff going on? What I've started to do now is I've started to pray that God just continues to show me how good life can get.
Yeah.
And because of that, not only am I able to continue to move forward because I know at any point in time I can take the vacation.
Yeah.
At any point in time I can go on a staycation in the hotel and just get away. So I don't believe that it's dangerous. I believe we have to be strategic in doing what we've been called to do.
Yeah. I agree with that. Do you find that a lot of the women that you're working with have some kind of prior trauma, or is it more that they're just shy and kind of timid and not wanting to really be confrontational, which is why they're not as confident in what they do? Or what's what have you seen?
It's been a mix of both.
Yeah.
It has, I like to tell people, introverts, but I want to bust the myths of introverts.
Yeah.
You are not shy, you are not awkward. You just have to go at life a different way,
Yeah.
right? I'm naturally introverted. People would never know that because I'm always talking. But when I'm talking, I'm in smaller settings.
Yeah.
Um, or I'm on a stage, but I don't see all the people that's looking at me, right?
Yeah.
I just know that when I'm done, I have to give my energy up a little bit differently than everybody else.
Mm.
So I try to bust the myths of introverts, and those are those people that believe they're shy, and then there are some who don't even understand that they're introverted because they're like, oh, I'm talking to people in public, I'm doing all the things, I'm going to the events. But are you afraid to talk to the people at the events?
Mm.
You're just showing up. Like, you're not going to introduce yourself.
Yeah.
You're not following up with them, one on one. What are you doing? You're making it to the point where you're just going to the cute brunches.
Yeah.
You're dressing up. You have the cute outfit on. You're shopping every weekend for a different outfit. But what's your ROI
Yeah.
of you actually being at these
Girl, your
these places?
time. I said that at an event one day because my tickets were not inexpensive. They weren't high, but they weren't cheap either. And I said, "What are you gonna do with that? Like, that ticket was high. Yes, you bought your outfit, you got your makeup done, you did all this stuff, but your time
Yes.
is worth so much more than any of that.
Yes.
What are you gonna do with it? Like you said, what's your return, right? Who did you talk to? Who did you connect with? And more than anything, to your point, did you follow up?
Yes.
You can talk to all these people, get their cards, you give them yours. If nothing happens,
You went there for nothing.
you
You
wasted
know.
your time. You just had a good lunch.
Yeah. If sometimes
You
the
just
lunch
had
is
a
not
good.
even good. Sometimes it's not even good, but needless to say,
Yeah.
you just been there for nothing.
Yeah.
Like, you showed up just to have pictures for Instagram, you
Mm.
know, And nothing's wrong with taking pictures for Instagram because you want people to see your face.
Right.
But what in the background are you doing to make yourself memorable?
Yeah.
You know, just showing up does not make you memorable. It does not have people in the background saying, "Oh yeah, I need to call Taisha." No, just showing up in a cute outfit is not going to get you where you want to be.
How do you show up? How are you supposed to show up in those settings?
So, what I tell people is the first thing that they need to do is have goals before they even go to the event.
Mm-hmm.
What is it that you want to accomplish there? And I always go with at least three goals, right? So, maybe you're not going there to get someone to buy your product, right? Maybe you're going there to find a mentor. Maybe you're going there because you want to be on a podcast. Maybe it's, what is it that you want to accomplish from this event that you feel like the people in the room can help you get?
Yeah.
And then when you go there, one of the other things that I do before I even get into the room is I tell myself I'm that girl. When we were on the panel with Southern, I said, well, how did y'all know that that's my song? I listened to it before I even came in here. Because I'm like, I have to tell myself I'm that girl,
Yeah.
right? You have to boost your own confidence. I did a reel just yesterday and I put out, something that was telling them you have to know that you are that person before you even walk into the room.
Yes.
You have to tell yourself, I am memorable before they even think to remember you.
Yeah.
And so you build your confidence. It's a skill. People think people are born with confidence. It's a skill. And just like any other skill, typing or whatever it is, or speaking in public, you have to build that skill. It's not something that everyone just wakes up and be like, "Oh yeah, I'm her."
Yeah.
You have to fine tune that confidence skill every single day.
Yeah.
No matter how good you are. I'm sure Beyonce has to tune her confidence because people go in on her on a daily
Yeah.
basis. And so if Beyonce has to do it and she's dancing and singing in front of millions of people, what do you think you have to do before you go into a room that have hundreds of people?
Right.
You still have to build that skill up.
Yeah.
So knowing that you are that girl, knowing what value you bring, because sometimes people are women do not understand the value that they bring. And when you understand the value that you bring, guess what? It's easy for you to fine tune your confidence because
Yeah.
now you're like, I can bring something to this table
Exactly.
and I can help you get where you need to be.
And people feel that.
You're right.
They know.
Yes.
They feel that.
And they can feel when you're not authentic.
Yeah.
All of those who chat GPT everything, now, or they Google,
Yeah.
or they're buying someone else's course and then they want to spin it around and try it. We can feel
Yeah.
if you have the real knowledge.
You have the sauce.
Yeah, that's
A
it.
friend of mine calls it the sauce. She's like, it's your sauce.
Yeah.
Only you can bring your sauce.
And so if they have the sauce now, as they say, what, let them cook?
Yeah.
You have to let them cook.
Let them
That's
do it.
it.
Yeah. So if somebody's going to a networking event, what are the five? So you gave things on that.
Mm-hmm.
You gave examples of things that they should do. Give us things that they should not do when you're going to that event.
Oh, girl, I got a list.
Give it to
What?
us. Give it to us.
So one of them is definitely not going up in there thinking that you are about to walk away with a sale
Mm.
or walk away with whatever it is that you want to walk away with.
Yeah.
So I told you to go in there with a goal, right? But when you walk out of there, you're not going to have those goals checked off. You know what's going to have to happen? You have to follow up.
Follow up.
So in your head, oh, I want Jane Doe to be my mentor. But Jane Doe is not going to become your mentor inside of that event.
Yeah.
You have to follow up with them and
Yeah.
be intentional about your follow up. So don't go in there thinking that your goal list is going to just fall into your lap.
Yeah.
You have to be intentional after the event. One of the other things that I would tell people is don't be loud. The best thing that you can do when you go into a networking event is listen.
Mm.
Because I have at least 5 different elevator pitches, same exact product, but I have 5 different elevator pitches because I'm listening to what your problem is, and then I'm going to use that specific elevator pitch
For that person.
for that person.
I love that.
So don't go in just wanting to talk. Nobody wants to hear about you all the time.
Yeah.
That is something people just
People do that a
yeah,
lot.
that's what they feel like, it's,
Yeah.
oh, or if I tell you about me, you're going to really like me.
Yeah.
You're not going to be memorable. Guess what they're going to say? Oh my god, that girl talked all day
Right.
about herself. I don't want to deal with her.
Exactly.
But if you listened to what they were saying, because they want to talk about themselves, and then you can utilize that. I do this all the time, especially at my son's, well, he's now at your alma mater. But yeah,
Yes.
but I used to do this all the time at his high school. And so I would go in, I would listen to people talking, and then I would put little tidbits in the back of my head, like, oh, they talked about them going to a beach house, or, so that means they like water, different things. And I would send them like a little snippet of something that I find that would resonate with them. And that's how the connections are built. I didn't have to pay for value. All I knew was I listened to something that they liked, and then I sent them something that was free. It might have been a
Right.
blog or a YouTube or channel or something that was like, oh, I think you would like this. And in their head, they're like, oh, she listened to me.
Mm.
She was
Set
paying
yourself apart.
attention to
Yeah.
me. And so don't go in there wanting to talk about yourself. Be intentional about your follow-ups. And then I would say one of the other things is don't go in there dressed like you don't want to be seen.
Mm.
You have to at least have on a statement piece, something that will allow them. And I came here, my earrings were supposed to be the statement piece, but obviously they didn't want to stay in my ear, right? But you have to have some type of statement piece that allows them to walk up to you and be like, oh my God, I love that belt, and
Yeah.
in their head they know, what it is.
Yeah.
But most of the time, women want to wear black. But when we're wearing black, we're thinking that it's powerful, but other people see it as you hiding.
Mm.
So,
Never thought of that.
what are you doing? Because usually you don't wear bright colors unless you want to be seen, right? So, don't go in there dressed in all black. Yeah, it's professional, but that's for men.
Yeah.
We have to understand that we are feminine,
Yeah.
and we love the bright colors. We love the pink. We love the golds. And so when we walk out, we have to have something on that makes somebody walk up to us and say, "Oh my God, I love that on you.
Yeah.
That's a nice scarf. Oh my, that skirt is." Have at least one piece of item on that they will be able to remember you by.
That's sometimes how people describe you. The lady with the pink belt, or the lady with the, and people are like, oh yeah, yeah, I saw her.
That's it.
But if you say black suit and everybody had black suit, they're like, I don't know which one
Yeah.
that was.
You
Yeah.
had on all gray. What?
Yeah.
What were you thinking?
Yeah.
And so even if, so a lot of people, some people may like all gray,
Yeah.
but have a statement piece on with it. A nice brooch.
Yeah.
Everybody don't wear brooches anymore. I like brooches.
Yeah.
But wear a nice brooch or a scarf or some earrings that stand out. And if you're going to wear them, pull your hair back so people can see them.
Mm.
When you're walking towards them, allow them to see that statement piece.
That makes sense. That makes sense. So talk to the women who are saying, I want to do this, or maybe they're networking but just not doing it the right way. What would you say to them?
Be intentional. Um, and I said this before, but I say it all the time because a lot of women don't understand that if you're not intentional about what you want to accomplish, it will fall to the wayside.
Yeah.
If you have a strategy in place, I always say I'm not just a networker, I'm a strategic networker.
Yeah.
Because even when I'm going into any event or any space, I have a strategy in mind. And that's one of the things people are like, oh, I hate networking. When I get there, it's all a small talk. But that's because you're not strategic with it.
Mm.
If you have in your back of your head what you want to accomplish, and Billy Bob walks up to you and he's not talking about something that you want to do, guess what you do? Excuse yourself.
I about to say find an exit. Yeah.
Find a way for you to get out of that situation. And
Yeah.
it could be, oh, I'm parched, let me go and grab something to drink, and you walk away, and then you go and find somebody else. You don't have to stay in that one area if they're not serving you with your goals.
Yeah.
So being intentional and being strategic, also making sure that you build your confidence every day.
Yeah.
Right? And it can be talking to the people in the grocery store line. You got an event that you're coming up with, but you have this lady that's standing behind you, and you're like, okay, I'm nervous about talking to people that I don't know. Turn around and start talking to her. It's practice,
Yeah.
right? So Really and true. It's little things that you can do on a daily basis in your everyday life that can help you. If you have kids, go to their school and talk to those people. I have one friend, her daughter's on the cheer team,
Hmm.
and she was like, "Oh, they don't talk to me, they don't." And I was like, "Are you talking to them?" And so I'm
Exactly.
telling her, put yourself out there. And then now it's like all the parents want to be her friend because they can't be friends with you if they don't know who you are.
Right.
Right? So until you put yourself out there and practice in the little line, let's go over what you're going to say. Right? Get the script. It can be a script. It can be bullet points that you want to talk about at that event, but practice those bullet points.
Yeah. I've had it to where I've gotten a list of all the attendees. Like, sometimes when you
Yes.
register for something, you get a list of the people that's going to attend. Sometimes they'll tell you,
Hmm.
like, where they work, what they do. And I'll look at the list and I'll target certain people.
Right.
And, like, I'm literally finding those people. I'm looking through the room, like, oh, I wanted to talk to this person, so let me spend some time. And I've also gone to events where there was maybe one person on that list. Or maybe I didn't even know they were on the list, but I knew they were going to be there. Could have been one of the speakers or something. And I'm like, I'm going to get to that person.
Hmm.
I don't know how,
Right.
but I'm going to get to that person. And like that whole day, I'm listening, I'm taking all the information, but I'm watching that person because it's like I'm waiting on that opportunity. Because, look, they say, well, shoot your shot.
That's it.
And I'm like, when that opportunity happens, I'm not going to miss. But that comes with being prepared. Because what you don't want to do is get that shot and drop the
And
ball.
can't do anything with it.
Drop the ball.
And it goes to saying, just like you get that list sometimes, some events nowadays don't put it out for privacy purposes,
Mm.
right? But here's what you can do. Let's say, for instance, this event has been going on year after year after year, right? You go to that social media page, you go to
Mm.
that Eventbrite, and you look at who was there. Oh, what did they wear? Here, you start
Yeah.
to prepare yourself for this event, right? And so it all goes back to, are you being intentional?
Yeah.
I don't want to wing. When I first started in business, I was winging networking. I lost almost $5,600 one year from going to events and not getting any return on it.
Mm.
And I promised myself I was not going to do that again. You
Yeah.
know, so being intentional and having that list, you might not get that list, but go on their site, go on their platform and see who showed up, especially if you see the same person over and over and over in their pictures. That means they're a frequent person of this. So
Right.
then you go on LinkedIn and you kind of like do some deep diving on some of the things that they have. And I know it might be stalkerish, but
You're doing your
you're
research.
doing your research.
Yeah.
It's, you're not paying someone to do the research for you. You're taking 10 minutes out of your day to find out who it is at that event. And also, if that person shows up with other people, they're more than likely to to be at that event.
Yeah.
So start learning a little bit about them. You don't have to walk up to them and say, "Oh, I know all of this about you." In the back of your head is going to come up.
It
And
is.
then all you have to do is kind of just slightly bring it on into the conversation, right? It can be you say, "Oh, I like the beach." And in my head, I'm like, "Oh, my children and I are getting ready to go on vacation, and well,
That's
where are
gonna
you
spark a
going?
exactly.
Oh, well, we
Yeah.
were thinking about a beachfront." And then all of a sudden you're like, "Oh, she likes something that I like."
And now y'all start like
Now,
guards down, brick walls down. Now we can talk.
right.
Yeah.
Because everyone says, "Oh, I'm going to work hard. I'm going to do what I need to do at work so they can see me." Guess what? The true deals happen after 5 p.m.
I agree.
They happen
Agree.
on the weekends. They do not happen at work.
On the golf course, at dinner, at a early breakfast,
Yes.
away from the
The
office.
the office.
Yeah.
I always say now, people want to find out, do I like them and then I can do business with them? Back then it was, oh, I can do business with them and then I can get to like them. Now it's, I need to like them to do business with them because
Yeah.
I don't want them, messing up what I have going on. So you have to let them know that they have a reason to like you.
Yeah.
But be authentic about it. Don't just go in there thinking that you're about to manipulate them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So look, I want you to touch on one more thing before we finish
Okay.
up. You mentioned social media, LinkedIn. How important is it to go through your social media page and clean it up? Talk about it, please.
Oh, you
Talk
know
about it,
this.
please.
People have to because your social media, The first thing that they start to do now is look you up on social
I
media.
do.
Right.
I do all the time. I'm like, who is this person?
Yeah.
I'm going to social media. Like, I need to see your lifestyle.
Yes.
People put their lifestyle out there.
Yeah. And sometimes it's stuff that you don't want people to see. Right.
Exactly.
So don't put that on there. LinkedIn, know the ways the platforms are used. Right. I treat Instagram like I have two separate pages. I have my personal page and I have my business page. But sometimes I kind of commingle them because I want people on my personal page to see I work.
Mm-hmm.
And then I want people in my business life to understand that I actually am a human,
Right.
right? And so I kind of commingle them. But here's the other part: social media is only about your perception,
Mm.
is what you want people to perceive you as.
Yeah.
So I know for a fact the only things I'm going to showcase are my faith. I'm going to showcase my kids, my husband, and my work and the things I do in the community.
Yeah.
And you might see me out hanging with the girls sometimes,
Yeah.
but what do I want the world to perceive me as?
Yeah.
And so that's important. Clean those things out. If you don't want them to know certain things that you do, take that off of it.
Yeah.
Because honestly, before they follow up, and say, "Oh yeah, I can meet for," they are looking you up.
Yeah.
They're doing their research. Just like you did your research, they are doing their research.
Yeah.
So if you want them to do business with you, you are going to have that image. And then they'll be like, okay, this is a person that I can get to know.
Yeah.
I can talk to, and then you kind of do everything else from
Let
there.
me tell you, like in the corporate world, that's what we do.
Yeah.
We see your resume, we say, oh my God, this person's amazing. Guess where we go next?
Social media.
Social media. I do LinkedIn.
Mhm.
I'm going to Facebook. I'm going to IG. I'm going to TikTok. I want to know the real you.
Right.
And sometimes the real you is like, oh my God, I love this person
Mhm.
even more now. But then there's sometimes I'm thinking, this person's an HR nightmare.
Yes. Yes.
Just based on what they're posting, I'm perceiving
Mhm.
this to be an issue.
Right. And sometimes it might just had a bad day,
Could have.
but don't put it on there.
Keep that at your
Yeah.
kitchen table.
If you want to scream in your car, scream
Do
in your
it.
car, but
Don't
don't put
record
that on there.
yourself screaming in your car.
Right.
Right? Yeah.
Right.
So that is so true. And when you're networking and you're looking for that mentor, you're looking for that partner, believe me, people are going to your social media page. And I would say don't even look at the first 6 months. Go all the way back from the beginning and clean all of that up. And if it's something that's questionable to where you're like, take it off. It needs to be a yes or a no. If it's that in between, take it off. Take it off. Keep it on your phone. Keep it on your computer, but take it off of where everybody can see it. So yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what does legacy mean to you?
Okay, I have a couple definitions, but to me, legacy is something that future generations will be able to look back on and say, she did that.
Yeah.
Those three words, she did that. What did I do that my future generations will be proud of and be able to say, oh my gosh, my mom, my grandmother, my great grandmother was a part of this.
Mm-hmm.
And so whenever I am looking at organizations that I'm going to join, or what am I going to be a part of, am I going to be online, what is it that they can say that they're proud of?
Yeah. That's amazing. So how can people, if people want that confident connection, how can people find you?
So on Instagram, at Make Confident Connections. You can find me on Facebook at the same thing, Confident Connections, as well as on TikTok. I'm just starting to get on TikTok, but
Me too.
nonetheless, I'm trying it.
Yeah.
I have my daughter, which is a teenager. She is trying to help me with that. So it's Confident Connections on TikTok as well.
Okay. Awesome. Dannielle, thank you so much. This has been absolutely amazing. I appreciate what you're doing for women in the community, because I was one of those people back in the day that had low self-esteem, lack of confidence, and thankfully I overcame that. But it is a process and it's not easy, and when you get support, it will help you get to that confident stage in your life a lot faster. Yeah. So we appreciate you. Thank you for joining the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. I
Yes.
truly enjoyed it.
You're so welcome. All right, y'all. Thank y'all for another episode, for watching another episode of the Legacy Discussions podcast, where we leave legacies and not liabilities. And I hope to see you again next time. I'm your host, Taisha Beard. Thank you.